Hello, everyone. My name is LaShonda Lewis, and I'm the Communications and Media Specialist here at the Chaplaincy Institute. And welcome back to a new series that we're doing where we bring in CHI alumni, faculty, and community members and discuss the amazing things that they're doing out in the world. So I'm thinking about calling this series CHATS, but I'm not 100% sure. So if you guys would like to leave a comment below and leave any ideas or suggestions for the name, I would greatly appreciate it. So for today, I have a very special guest who is a CHI alumni, and she is currently an interfaith minister as well as a street chaplain. We're going to be discussing her upbringing, her experience at CHI, and the amazing work that she's doing out in the community. So with no further delay, I'd like to welcome Rev. Marie Coletta.
Thank you so much, LaShonda. It was a wonderful, warm welcome. And as I said, thanks for everything you're doing to help CHI and help us manifest even more compassion and healing in the world. So
thank you. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right. So we're just going to hop right into the interview with the first question. So my first question is going to be, can you talk a little bit about your upbringing and share your relationship to spirituality versus religion, and whether or not, how did you decide if you connected to one more than the other?
So I'm getting old and we have to break it into two. So the first one is a little bit about me, right? Mm-hmm. And then remind me about spirituality versus religion. Good chance that'll be gone by then. Also into me. I am the youngest of 6 siblings. I was the very, very youngest. There's a large gap between me and the next sibling. Italian immigrant grandparents. Mm-hmm. On the East Coast to South Philadelphia, and then later South Jersey and the suburbs of Philadelphia. Populated a lot of that area. And, so what I think is salient for our conversation is I felt like I was born with like my nerves on the outside. I was really sensitive little kid. Mm-hmm. I was anxious as hell. Before it was like trendy to have anxiety disorder. We didn't even call it that really in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I was always pretty tightly strung and very, very aware of what everyone else needed. And that was a gift I came in with. And it was also like sort of the gift and the curse of my ancestry. So when my parents split, I was very small and I grew up with my mother, me and my mom. And that was an amazing, intense, incredibly difficult relationship that we had together. And she is a part of the ministry now. She died when I was 23. And I think I really mourned her when I was about 40, when I got to AA and I got to Zen Center and a whole bunch of things changed in my life. Mm-hmm. And now it's her compassionate spirit. It's her passion for people and love of humanity that I feel like I really carry forth right now in Raising Sparks with others. So I moved here when I was 18 to San Francisco. I had been a seeker as an adolescent, but kind of gave up, got frustrated, and just stuck to drinking and drugs, and entered the mental health field because that's what I was good at. I went to USF. I did really well. I didn't feel good about myself, but I was, in other people's eyes, I was, good student, valedictorian, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. But the spiritual emptiness remained for many years. And I worked as a counselor and a mental health professional for 3 decades. And hence we get to CHI. So I'll stop there. I got sober 10 years ago, and that was a huge turning point in my life. And that's when I was able to seek spirit, not in a bottle, but in practices and community and my innermost mystic heart. So I'll stop there. And then you said religion and spirituality. Yes. I don't use the word religion anymore at all for anything I do. Mm-hmm. I only use it if the person I'm talking with uses it and it makes them comfortable, because it's not even in my lexicon. Okay. I love spiritual traditions. I love all the paths to the one. I love all the paths to the many, to whatever it is you're already with, but trying to find, whatever it is we're doing on this path. Mm-hmm. I honor all of that. I'm going off on a tangent. So for me, spirituality is a practice. It's a way of living. It's a way of looking at things. It's a way of making meaning of suffering. It's a way of offering a way to ground so that I can live this life in like a semi-functional way. And so it's an action. Like spirituality is a manifestation of all these things that we do to take care of ourselves. And religion is, I think, sets of rituals, ceremonies, dogmas, worldviews, images, metaphors, etc., that sort of end up getting woven together to create a path for whoever responds to that. But she taught me that what happened, at least in certain traditions, is that the frame around the beautiful picture, the beautiful art that is the theology, that is the community, that is the church, gets overshadowed by all of the decorative art that starts getting onto the frame. And eventually, this is one of my favorite CHI teachings. Eventually, all people see is the frame, that beautiful glittering frame. And we've gone to spiritual bypass and we've lost what we were trying to treasure.
Thank you for sharing the fact. You said you've been sober for 10 years, or you got sober 10 years ago? Okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And
good for everybody.
Yeah.
Trust me.
That's great. I love that. So let's move on to your next question. We got there a little early at the beginning. So can you share about your story of how you got to CHI? How did you find out about CHI?
So through a 12-step program, a person I very much admired, their recovery and their spirit, shared with me that they were going through an interfaith program. And that was like 2 years before any of it ever came to fruition, but something went, And I look back and like I ended up with like 2 Buddhist chaplains in my life that weren't there before, and like all kinds of stuff was happening
intertwining
to get me there if I look back on it. But I didn't know at the time. What happened was I burnt the hell out at another case management job. I was working for the Department of Public Health in San Francisco. It was killing me. And like, I'm the last to know when I'm going to burn out. I've burned out like 3 or 4 times. I'm always like, my partner's like, yeah, I saw that kind of in month 3. And here we are in the 8th month. And I'm like, I got to get out of this job. So I had to leave this dream job that I was going to stay at and have a retirement account and yada, yada. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was sitting with my oldest sister in meditation back east. We were visiting my brother for his birthday, and the word chaplaincy literally just bubbled up. And I didn't even know what the hell. And so I ended up reaching back out to that woman and reaching back out to these chaplains I had met, found out about CHI, and it just, something said, this is it. And honestly, family members helped me get through it. I didn't have any money for it. And they took care of me, and they helped me so I could work part-time. And that's how I got there. Yeah. I realized, like, now I see that what I really have to offer the world has been getting peeled away over decades. And now I can really do it in a purer form than I did in mental health care, when I was still when I wasn't in love with me yet at all, and didn't know the things CHI taught me through our experiential classes. Yeah.
I think it is so cool how in life you would just get little foreshadowing moments of like things happening and you have no idea what's coming towards you. Yeah. So
that's God, dude. What else is, I mean, that to me is evidence of like whatever it is that is moving through every last one of us. There's a warmth and a wish for my well-being there, or I wouldn't keep getting these lovely opportunities for practice all the time. So life actually is taking care of me, and I'm just starting to really feel that, Yeah.
That's so cool. And I really do think we are meant to go through everything that we experience in life. Because imagine if you didn't experience what you went through when you were younger, you probably wouldn't have found the path that you're on right now. So definitely agree. Okay, so our next question, can you share your experience at CHI? What was it like to be a student there?
How do you even put into words the experience I had? I will say that I have never been a joiner of things. I was always like behind the school smoking pot. I didn't want to be part of the team. I didn't want to be part of your group. I could have cared less about joining anything. And I was really nervous when I went. The first month was Catholicism, which is what the religion that I was raised in and left at as a teenager. And I had so much healing I needed to do that the tears didn't even stop coming out. And I'm in this circle of people that I barely know, and all I felt was love. Wow. All I felt was love. No judgment. If there was judgment in the room, they went to the bathroom and got rid of it and came back because I felt so loved. I just let myself, I just threw myself. I used to say it's like throwing yourself on a fire. Gee, if you want, you can just go, boom, and let it burn away the delusion. And that's what happened. So every month there was something wrong with my body, my whole body, like I can't even tell you. And it was somatic. I learned that my body is connected to my mind and my heart. And I really never felt that until CHI, but we did a lot of movement and artwork and role play and things that the woman who played the piano and we sang a spontaneous song. I have, see how my hairs are standing up, and that's how I know that's when spirit is like, yes, queen. It was so good. And the grief ritual that Megan and Jim did with us, I think started my healing journey on the grief that's trapped in my body from years of losing clients and people and not ever letting myself feel anything. That ritual was so potent. And the inner child healing ritual was so potent that I know I was healed in it. I know that I am a more healed being than I was when I walked into it. It's just so those kind of profound things, trusting a group and being part of something and being myself and that being okay and learning to be quiet and learning to not be the first one to raise my hand every time and learning to be humble. And I mean, I really can't put into words the friends, the people, the teachers, the guides, the fellows who clean the church who I just fell in love with. And I could, that's my experience was, it was transformative. It wasn't educational as much as transformative. We got lots of information about all the different traditions, but you know what I remember? Walking out of that grief ritual and my sciatica went away. That's what I remember.
Wow. It's so funny that you said that because I literally have been saying the same thing. I said, I feel like every week or month or something, once I fix something else is wrong with me. Like literally right now I'm having like jaw pain. Like I can't even open my mouth all the way. And I just got over something else. I'm like, what is going on? So
I would say good, because you're learning. That's what my oldest sister did, a master's program in another sort of progressive kind of school. And she said to her teacher, I've been sick every class and I have this pain here now. And they said, good, you're learning. So even now when I do a ministry event, when I'm doing something very specifically for Raising Sparks, I almost always have like weird stuff in the morning that's a little bit like my module at CHI. It reminds me of that. And I'm like, oh, this is just my body schlepping itself along on this spiritual act I'm about to do. And it's letting me know that I have needs. It's letting me know that I have to go slow. So it's kind of interesting the way that somatic stuff in school still comes up. And now I feel like it's information. It just reminds me to be careful with this one, because I can be very like, just forget everything that I need in favor of, what it is I want to do. So yeah.
I learned something new. Okay.
Good.
Awesome. All right. So now let's hop into the work that you are currently doing with Raising Sparks Ministry. Can you let's break it up. So how did that begin?
I think that it's just funny. I told my partner kind of before we were born, like, I feel like Raising Sparks is kind of this mission, this thing that we're starting to do has always been gestating somewhere. So literally how it began was I was on BART on the way to CHI. I had applied for CPE, and every time I thought about it, I got anxious and nervous. My stomach turned. And I was doing it out of fear because I thought I needed CPE to be a chaplain, and you can't do it. You know, got to get a job, got to produce. And that was in the beginning, right? CHI changed all that for me. I live much more in the moment now because of CHI, because of my experience there. But I said to myself, you don't want that. I had applied and everything. I was ready to go do it. I did all the work to do it. And then said, I don't want that. I'm going to do the independent internship. I'm going to take a risk. Something says, don't do CPE. So I made Raising Sparks my independent internship and spent 400 hours. I have a notebook I saved with like each line I wrote like 7 minutes, this like 27 and pages and pages and pages and did the like foundational work. I had my sister help me, a lot of people helped me, but I went and got an internship at the Healing Well, a wonderful little community organization in San Francisco's Tenderloin that I love dearly, and started doing one-on-one spiritual care there, and worked at the Gubbio Project as a volunteer chaplain, and did various other things to build the internship. And really what came out of it was Raising Sparks mission statement, our proposal, a lot of different stuff for planning for future. And so it was born out of me learning to listen more to my inner guide and less to what I think people want from me.
Can you share the mission statement of Raising Sparks?
Well, I should say my partner and I just want to make sure I mentioned Gregory Ahern, because without him, there would be no sparks. Yes. I wouldn't even have any sparks lit. So he's my partner of over 20 years, and we're doing this together. Okay. I'm kind of the academic administrative, and then we joyfully kind of live out the mission together. So I meant to bring it so I could read it, but it's, it's the first thing you see on our website, but really I'll just say what our mission is. Yeah. We really believe in that every being is whole and perfect in each moment, and that the trauma and the damage, that rejection and judgment that our capitalist society has created for poor people, and that anybody who isn't, in the money game doesn't matter, right? So people stop believing that they matter or are important, and that it's our role not only to go out and share love and joy and connection and peanut butter sandwiches and hygiene kits and funky little weird things we find at the dollar store. Like, we're very grassroots. We're very small still. But to do it on equal ground, which is a practice, a practice that I'll be practicing the rest of my life and may never learn, which is, even though our conditions are different, can I meet you? This is my personal mission. Can I meet you on equal ground? Can I have beginner's mind? Can I be fully present for you without attaching to what I think you need or how I'm going to help you? Like, I'm trying to throw help out the window and be a person in deep in relationship. And so that's sort of the idea is everyone matters. And we can create a city where people who are traumatized, addicted, marginalized, clients or victims of the mental health system, depending on what their experiences have been, because I'm a mental health client myself, as well as a provider. And I know that can be also traumatizing and excluding and pathologizing. So we're trying to heal in the low income and unhoused populations, the low income hotels, the ways that people have been excluded, and bring everyone in knowing that we're truly on equal ground. Our circumstances are different, but we're two beings exchanging these gifts. And so there's the giver, receiver, and gift are one, is something the Buddha said. And there's no separation between any of the three. And that's our experience when I'm with someone and we're talking, we're out on the street and we're doing whatever, or I'm in somebody's unit doing a room cleansing or talking with them about their trauma or whatever it is, we are in a blessed moment. of connection. And that's where healing happens, is in real relationship and real connection. So I go out and be really me, and you be really you. And I bring with me the tools I learned. And my partner goes out on his bike to the far reaches of the city with his sandwiches and blankets. And we went from being I went from being a very depressed and angry alcoholic case manager to being able to channel the love that you have, that I feel like I'm bringing everybody's love to each interaction, because it's a moment where I finally am not, it's not all about me for like a second in my head, and it's us, and that is more than me. So I feel like the ministry is Anne-Marie plus it's a co-creation with whatever my higher power might be. You know what I mean?
Yes, that is beautiful.
It's unfolding like that. It wasn't like that in the beginning. It was like, oh, I made a huge to-do list and I tried to do a million things that I wasn't ready to do. But now, we're out there. I have a growing spiritual care practice with people in the SRO hotels, the single room occupancy hotels. And, Greg has a bunch of relationships out on the street, and lots of people are participating through donating. We have one friend who got on our board and is also making peanut butter sandwiches and bringing them to our house. We have people sending us stuff. It's just really amazing. It feels like all beings are sharing love when we're out there doing it. It just feels like it's all of us. Yeah.
You're
really
truly
cool.
in the business of healing. I love that.
Who knew?
Right.
Oh my God. Wounded healer, but that's beautiful. And it's what I just posted something that Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said, like, only in the darkness can you see the stars. And like, if you hadn't gone through every minute of your life, you wouldn't be becoming the healer and the helper and the light that you are. And same here. Like, I wouldn't be able to work in harm. Like, I'm a kind of a harm reduction chaplain. And how would I have done that if I hadn't gone through addiction? How would I be able to connect with people with certain issues if I hadn't
if you hadn't experienced that? Right. Exactly.
So, like, I don't offer advice that I won't take. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the ministry. I don't know if I said enough about the ministry. I kind of went off, but
you did. I was gonna ask you to, like, if you can, like, you shared a little bit about, making PBJ sandwiches. So what is like a day in the life of Raising Sparks Ministry? You wake up, maybe let's just walk me through the day of what you might do.
Here's the thing. Pre-COVID, we were doing a couple of groups in the hotels a month where we'd bring a bunch of supplies and we'd all sit around a table with tenants and talk and laugh and have spiritual discussion and make hygiene kits with little love notes in them, with notes of inspiration, which we still do. I'm doing them now, but and then we, then Greg and I would take those supplies, and another day we'd go out and share the love from that hotel. And then once a month we were having the chili love fest on a corner in the Tenderloin, where we make a giant pot of chili, get a zip car, go down there and give out Mardi Gras beads and blessings and sing songs with people and feed like 100 people on a Sunday morning.
Wow.
Me and him, right? And then a few volunteers. We now have some co-conspirators who come with. So right now it's much more become, Greg is still doing a lot of what we call street visits. On his bicycle, he'll load up his bag with supplies of various kinds from all of our compassionate members. And he'll engage and hang out, talk with people, and do really lay spiritual care. I mean, he's not a trained spiritual care provider, but his ministry is growing and unfolding a lot in tandem with mine. I mean, it's just happening, we're learning together.
Yes.
And then, so he's out there a lot, and I am doing a lot of Zoom and phone spiritual care sessions. So like 30 minutes to an hour with someone. I have now like 6 or 7 people I'm talking to every week almost.
Okay.
And I do home visits to the hotels, including during COVID or shelter in place if it's needed, which is great, because we created our own agency so that we could say, well, you may not be able to see your client today, but I can put on a mask and I can go see my client, because if they need to be seen, I can go see them. And for one person, that meant during COVID, a trip to the hospital instead of the morgue. And it doesn't always work out like that, but it's nice to know if I need to see someone.
Right.
And the biggest problem was getting past the all the rules because a medical provider can go upstairs. What about a chaplain? I had to really push and fight and made some noise to be able to get into people. But anyway, yeah. So that's what right now we're doing more of that. I'm trying to learn the administrative end of things. I'm learning the businessy kind of stuff little by little. I'm going to learn how to fundraise proper because I haven't really been doing much of that. But what I've learned most of all is slow down when I think I'm in control. Take a breath and give it back. Give it back to whatever your name is for whatever source you have. That's for me. So I keep doing that. I keep working really hard and trying really hard and making lists and then like going, let the ministry unfold. And it unfolds. You'll get a phone call, something will happen, some opportunity will arise. We've done collaborative stuff with a couple different people and we'll continue. So these things arise as I allow them to by not trying too hard to make things occur.
Right. I love that.
Get out of your own way, right?
Yes. So while we're on the subject of Raising Sparks, can you share how people can find out more information or contact you if they're interested in getting involved, helping, volunteering? Yes.
Absolutely.
Or resources if they might be someone who needs this resource.
Absolutely, because, we are in our infancy. And this is really our first year really running. We've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, but only legit like an actual organization for less than a year, I think, or about a year. And I envision us needing more interfaith chaplains a few years down the road. I envision us having a growing spiritual care practice as well as a growing street visit practice. And so don't lose this number because if you are a cheaple, if you're one of our cheaples, you can always reach back out. And the other thing I want to say is even just an email saying, keep going, that is $5 million. You know what I mean? That's so there's priceless. So there's no way you can't help. Even if you just say a prayer for us, even if you just think of us with a smile, bam, that's a donation. So I wonder if I hold this up, if that's helpful. So we are at RaisingSparksInTheStreets.com. My amazing nephew made the website and it's quite lovely. And there's some things I've written on there. And then you can email us at RaisingSparksInTheStreets@gmail.com, or there's our phone number, 415-933-5955.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll make sure to put that on the screen as well. So they'll definitely be able to have that. Thank you. Okay. So we're towards the end of our interview and I have one more question for you.
Sure.
All right. So our theme for this quarter is inclusivity. What is your definition of being inclusive?
And I remember your email when you were gathering, sort of exploring this.
Yes.
It's a great question. It's a great question. So for me, I don't know if this is a definition, but coming back to meeting each other on equal ground, I think is in a sort of, that's what resonates for me in terms of inclusive. Like we don't have anybody can be part of Raising Sparks. Anyone. And if you join us or if you feel like a part of us and you act in a way that's harmful, my role as a spiritual guide is to set boundaries, is to make sure things are safe, but we'll keep working with somebody. We'll never say you're out. There's no border on this thing. See, and so inclusive means radically inclusive. It means I can enjoy spending time with somebody who is, psychotic, but not dangerous. That's another group might say, well, we can't really have them here. We're going to find a way to have them here. And so it's like, it's not having a fixed idea about what is normal, what is okay, and letting people show up as they are. And I would say the core of that, which I'm still learning, is self-acceptance, self-embrace, self-acceptance.
Yes.
Deep work on that. is how I'm learning to be radically inclusive of others.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a beautiful definition. Your definition. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I didn't know that it was my definition, so thanks for asking.
Yes. No problem. So we are at the end of our interview, you all. I just want to thank Rev and Marie. Thank you so much for coming by and sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your shining your light, because I feel like $1 million right now talking to you.
Yes, you are. You're
here too. I really appreciate this. This really made my day.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I needed that.
Yes. And I'm so happy to be able to share your story and the ministry that you're in. I think it's absolutely inspirational, and it's a story that needs to be told. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.